Teacher Sylvia again with letter writing. Yeah, you pick your pen, piece of paper, and then communicate to your friend um, in writing. That is letter writing. You have a conversation made in writing. You are the writer. You are the writer, and you're going to send that message to someone. That is very far from you. Some of you write apology letters to your parents after you've annoyed them. Yes, it's very important. You express your feelings in writing. And you can use a pen or you can write, you can type. That is handwritten. That letter is handwritten. You get a piece of paper, you get a pen and then write in ink, in pencil. But you have to make sure that the letter you write is readable. Someone can read it. That one that cannot be read easily is unreadable. We've taught you how to write. The letters are slanting. That is illegible. Illegible handwriting. This one is not even needed in your exams. Primary 7. You have to make sure your handwriting is readable and not unreadable. After you've written the letter, try to proofread. Proofread, that's one word. Make sure you proofread. Go through what you have written and find the mistakes and correct them before you send the letter to someone, because that's a draft. Yes, postscript, this is the information that maybe you've forgotten to write in the main letter, and then you write it down. Postscript. That information is very important, but never write it in an official letter. Yes, we have what we call a carbon copy. You want people to share. You share the information. It's not a friendly letter, because we have two types of letters. One is official, all informal, formal, all official letter, business letter. Then you have a friendly letter. You can put a PS on that. Make sure your letter is well punctuated. Punctuations, don't just write where there's a question and then you put a full stop. Make sure you don't write a lengthy letter, very long. Make sure you are brief and precise. Many of you write 4 full caps because you want to express your anger or things of that kind. So make sure you write a letter that is brief. That's why we teach you. That's what we call a full cap. Yes, some people use like 4 full caps, 5. 1 is enough. That's what I think. Even if your friend, you love your friend so much and you want to include everything, how the goats gave birth to kids, things of that kind. So make sure you write well. That's an illegible letter. Yes, we don't like that. Make that a draft or sketchy, and then get another paper and write. One that is neatly written or tidily written. The other person that is going to receive the letter would like it. We have 2 styles of letters. We have a block style. You see how that one is written. The paragraph is not seen. You cannot see the paragraph. We write from the first line to the next line on the same line. From the first to the last line. They are all on the same line. And that is what we call a paragraph. You all know what a paragraph is. And most of the time, teachers teach us to write 3 of them. 1 for the introduction, 1 for the body, and then the conclusion. RE that you see means reason. Why do you write that letter? That's the reason, not reference. Reference has letter F. Letter F, then you mean reference, but that is reason, the purpose of writing the letter. We have the indented. You saw the other paragraph on the same line, but this one shows there's a space left. Yes, the space is left somewhere, and then you write. You have to edit, remove the mistakes that you've made in the sentence, in your letter. There's some mistakes. Maybe you sit down and say, oh, is this suitable? Do I have to write this? And then you remove it. That's what we call a margin. You saw the margin. All your sentences begin from the margin. That's one way of writing a block letter. Yes, and the other one, you start from, you leave a small space. Slanting letters, we've already talked about that. Why don't you write straight letters if you want your friend to enjoy the letter? We don't enjoy reading letters that have slanting letters, or you get a rub and erase all the time. It doesn't make any sense. Make sure your letter is well written, neatly written. You have to sign. If it is an official letter, we sign and then write the name down, the signature first and then the name. That is an official letter. Sometimes people write letters to us and then we don't reply to them. Make sure you reply to the letter, and before you reply, make sure if it is an invitation, you inform the person. You can inform verbally. You make a call and say, I'll be able to attend. Most of you don't do that. Yes. When you write in my place, that is the person present. You see that word PP. That one means person present. The person who wrote the letter was John James, writing in place of that person whose name you've seen down there. If you're a signatory, you remember what we said, you're a person. Signature is different from signatory. Signatory is the person who signs. Maybe you are 2 or 3, you are signatories. Yes, but you're the only one signing. Yes, we have an applicant. If you are applying for a job, what you write is an application, and then if you are the one applying, you are the applicant. We have care of. You don't have an address, box number. You don't have one, but there's a person who has one, and you can use that person to deliver, to receive your letter, and then deliver it to you. Yes, he has a postal address. Physical address, this is your home without a post office number. The post office number is not there because you don't have an address, but physical, I think everyone has a physical address where you stay. Like here, it is Nakamiro Zone. That is our physical address. Nakamiro Zone, Sylvia, Nakamiro Zone. That's a personal letter. We want to look at it. The person is greeting. The greeting is the salutation. The greeting is the salutation. The first paragraph, that one you see, a number of lines you see over there. That is an introduction. You want to greet someone, you want to say this and that. You want to greet your uncle. Please don't start with, I want my sugar. No, don't do that. Have to introduce, greet the person you're writing to. Make sure the body is there. What do we mean by body? The information that you want to deliver, and then the conclusion. Yes, we have the last words, the closing remarks. And then we have what we call an aerogram. You don't need to buy an envelope again. You don't need to buy a full scarf. All this is in one. 2 in 1. It works as an envelope and a foolscap at the same time. Just seal and then send. And the postage is already there. So once you buy that, you have everything. And then you seal. Make sure you seal your letter so that people don't see what you have written. You can seal, that's an envelope. If you don't have an aerogram, you have an envelope. That envelope is a noun. You're going to wrap your letter. Wrapping your letter E is not there. That is to wrap, to cover the letter. After you've written the letter, push it inside the envelope. That E is not there. It is there when you're writing it in past form. Then you're going to add there E and D. But if it's not there, then don't write. That's a stamp to show that you've paid the money. And that money you pay is the postage. They're going to use it to post your letter. For example, your friend is in Australia. You want to send a letter to that person. It's not for free. You have to buy a stamp. And that person you're sending the letter to is the receiver, is the recipient, is the addressee. Then you are the addresser down there because you are the writer. The writer is the person that is sending the letter. So she's the sender, the writer. And this postman is going to help us take the letter. After the addresser has written, she's going to give the letter or take the letter to the post office. You can use people to deliver. Those ones are also there to deliver the letter, but they also need some money, and that's the postage. The money that you pay for posting your letter, that's postage. We have one post office here where we take our letters. They are responsible. That's the post office. Don't leave the letter on the road. No, take it to the post office. Those people are in charge of everything. So make sure you pay the money for taking your letter wherever it is supposed to go. We have Lubega as your surname, that name which they say Wedirankoko. You see, that is a surname. And then Robina is that one which they gave you when you were in church or in a mosque. And then when you get married, you are Robina, but you have to remember your name, Nambasa, which your mother gave you. Then when you got married to Chiberu, you became Mrs. Chiberu. When you're writing a letter, make sure you write the name. The writer has to write a name. When you don't write a name, then that letter is anonymous. And the noun is anonymity. Don't write anonymous letters. That's an official business letter. You can call it formal. Official business formal. That is Mr. A man is called Mr. Don't call me Mr. Madame Sylvia is not Mr. Mr. is for men. Yeah, and don't say sir when you're writing, and then you say Sir Sechijoba. No. So write mistress. Mistress is MRS when she's married. When you're married, you're going to call yourself your husband's name, your spouse's name. If he's Mr. Chibedi, you are Mrs. Chibedi. You are Mistress Chibedi. That's the reader. The person who has received the letter. Oh my God, it's so interesting. That's why you can see a smile. The letter is quite interesting. Some of you write boring letters, abusive letters. You use abusive language. That's the recipient, the person who has received. Wow. A recipient is a person who receives. The person who receives is the reader. She's the reader, she's the addressee. All those words mean the same. The applicant, that is a person who writes, who writes a letter. We have a CV, curriculum vitae. Vitae, what's that? Your academic credentials. They're not going to give you a job when you just dropped out of school. Primary 7, but you want to work as an engineer. Where? You have to show your documents. That's why we encourage you to study hard. You want a big job, you have to work for it. That's a resume. What's a resume? When you put the CV, that's the curriculum vitae, you must also put your resume there. What is your resume? Resume is showing the skills. You're showing the skills and the experience you have. Yes, these two can move together, that's CV and the resume. That word can also be resume with another meaning. We have the wedding invitation that is also written. Somebody writes, but this is typed. He typed to invite someone. That's also message. We have an advertisement. You write. This is information, writing information to someone. When they saw the advertisement, they were looking for someone that could help them, maybe with selling their stuff, things of that kind. And when you saw the advertisement, you wrote an application later. We can send messages through short message. You know that these are very short messages. That is SMS on your phone. You can write a letter. You can write a letter and email. That means that you need to have an email address. Mine is Sylvia Luwaga 2@gmail.com. So you must also have one. If you want to write to me, that's the one you can use. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. My name is Teacher Sylvia. I love children of class 7. God bless you.